Move it.
Ah, what's your hurry? You can't treat me like this. And who are these bums anyway?
Hey, what?
Hey, settle down. Eyes front.
I got a phone call. How about my phone call?
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Maybe it's okay for you to stand around like dummies, but I've got...
Recognize anyone?
Yeah, they all look pretty familiar.
Well, you ran into all of them?
I'm afraid I did.
Boy, selling's getting to be a rough game.
Oh, you don't know how rough. Who are those people anyway?
Take a closer look.
Number one there is a complainer. Number one, step forward.
Where's my attorney? We made a deal. I have got connections. You have no idea the trouble I can cause.
Yeah, then you get to know it all. Number two, give me a profile. Turn to the right.
No. First I turn to the left, then center, and then right. Yeah. I think I've been in this business a little longer than you have, and I know a little bit more about it than you.
You can't tell him nothing.
And number 3 is indecisive. Hey, number 3, step forward. You want to call your lawyer?
Sure, why not? No, wait a minute. I don't, well, gee, maybe I should just, I'd like to think about it.
And number 4 may be the worst of the lot. Hey, number 4, step forward. We don't have all day. Do you want to go home now? Do you want to tell me your name? Well, we'll just call you unresponsive.
Them silent ones can really kill you. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, that's them.
Uh-huh. The gang of 4.
They're all tough customers.
Oh, you can say that again.
Put them back on ice.
Crummy, I call it. When am I getting out of here anyway?
Let's see what we got here. Holding up a sale, stealing time, obstructing business.
We can throw the book at them.
Yeah, I hope you do.
But that's not going to solve your problem.
No?
What training have you had in dealing with these types?
Well, none, really.
Well, that's criminal. I'll send you out in the streets unprepared.
You'll be back next week with another bump on your head. Look, we got someone here you should talk to. Ed, this is Maggie Fletcher, our staff psychologist. She's kind of an expert on tough customers.
Oh, well, great.
Looks like you've been roughed up a bit, Ed.
Oh, no, it wasn't much.
Well, it happens to everyone. A lot of customers feel it's okay to be rude to salespeople, to use them as scapegoats. Kind of like kicking the dog after a hard day at the office.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I don't know. It seems like war or something out there. Sometimes it doesn't seem worth the trouble. I just feel like running away. Other times I get so ticked off, I just explode.
There's a real satisfaction in taking someone on. But it's awfully difficult to sell to someone you've just shot down. You see, you have to move beyond your initial gut reactions and learn to deal with difficult people. You have to learn some techniques.
I should look into that.
We were hoping you'd say that, Ed.
We have a little program here that might be just the thing for you.
Yeah, it's kind of a survival course for salesmen. Stick around, you'll learn something.
We've been studying these types for a long time, Ed. We know that you have to neutralize their behavior or you never get anywhere.
It's just like with a hood. You gotta take away his gun before you can talk turkey.
But doing that takes some skill.
This is the 4th time I filed this claim, and I still haven't got my money. So this is a hell of a time to try and sell me more insurance.
Well, I'm really very sorry.
Sorry I don't need. My money is what I need. And
When
no
you
one
run
can
into a
love that
complainer,
letter.
the
And
first
not
thing
only
you've
that,
got to do is just listen.
whoever it was, I
The worst
thought
thing
was
is to get
filed
defensive and
something.
argue back.
And that's the way it's been all
I try to
along.
just
So
repeat
I
what they
can't
say so they'll realize I understand. I see. So far, you've sent in 4 claims and you received no reply to your last letter?
That's for sure. But I sent a letter to the insurance commission, and if I don't get an adequate reply, I'm calling in an attorney.
Well, I can certainly understand how you feel.
Oh, it's a pity Mr. Fowler doesn't share your views.
You talked to Mr. Fowler?
Are you kidding? He's too important to talk to me. He won't
When
even...
customers get sarcastic and hostile, I try to draw them out and find out just what the real issue is.
He didn't have the courtesy to have his secretary call me.
Well, I'm afraid that Mr. Fowler does get a little swamped sometimes, but I'm sure when I get back to the office, I can straighten this whole thing out.
Well, I wish somebody would straighten it out. There's got to be another way to handle a simple insurance claim.
Yeah, I know all about that, but I just don't think the C2 is the right system for this aircraft.
Well, I just don't understand your thinking, because according to our specs, we're right on the money.
Yeah, I know the specs on this project backwards and forwards. Now, I'm not saying that your C2 can't do the job, but just let me tell you a few things about the C2. Now, in the first place,
Some people know more about your product than you do, or at least they think they do.
Hey, I bet you don't know when the first hydraulic actuator was used in an aircraft.
During the war, wasn't it?
Yeah, on the B-24. Oh, there was an aircraft.
If people want to parade their knowledge, I tend to let them. I don't feel that I have to do all the talking to be in control. By being patient, I often find an area of common interest that helps me make a more personal connection with the customer.
But that B-24 was built to last.
B-24s, gee, my dad flew one of those.
Oh, yeah? And so did I. What outfit was he in?
31st?
31st.
Finding common ground is always helpful, but the best way to earn the trust and respect of a know-it-all is to do your homework. You have to have all the facts he needs at your fingertips.
Say, you just wouldn't happen to have the test results of the C2's reliability, would you?
I sure do. In fact, I've got a whole range of results I can show you.
Let's go up to the lab and check them out, eh?
See?
This is our comparison room.
Oh,
I think you'll find it a little quieter in here.
that's very nice.
This one is exactly the same model we were just looking at on the floor.
Well, it seems to have almost everything the others do. I don't know, though. With
I
so
know
many
from
of these on the
experience
market,
that most indecisive people really want to buy, but there's something holding them back.
I like it, but I'm just wondering about the power.
Believe me, 60 watts per channel is enough.
I suppose you're right.
Answering objections is important, but often the real obstacle is the customer's anxiety about making a decision. The first thing I try to do in this situation is gain their trust.
I guess I just don't want to rush into anything.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You want to get the best equipment for your money. Did you happen to see this buyer's guide on receivers last month? I think it's pretty accurate.
I don't like to pressure indecisive people, but I do try to narrow down their anxiety to a few specific problems that I can deal with directly.
Well, let's take your questions one at a time. You mentioned something about power earlier. Are you still concerned about that?
Yes, I guess I am.
With the thrust weight factor, you've got power to burn.
Yeah, it's a beaut.
What do you think, honey?
Well, if you really like it.
She was difficult. She'd hardly said 2 words all afternoon. I couldn't tell whether she hated the boat, hated her husband, or hated me. I decided to just keep smiling and wait it out.
By the way, did you notice this cabinet here? It'll be very handy. Could you watch the wheel for a second? There's nothing to worry about. Just head straight for that lighthouse.
Let's take a look.
There's a lot of storage space in here.
Getting her to hold the wheel was a real breakthrough. The trick is to somehow get unresponsive people to come out of their shell and get involved.
Well, it is easy to steer.
Yeah, it just takes a light touch.
That's what seemed to work best with her, too, the light touch. I noticed that as long as I didn't press her or force the issue, she was slowly getting a feel for the boat on her own.
Wow. Thanks a lot. I wish I'd seen that before I'd run into those types myself.
Hey, where are you going?
Back to work? No.
What'd you hurry?
You think a few hints is all you need?
Well,
It'd be like going after the Godfather with a pea shooter. It's good advice, but...
It's only the tip of the iceberg.
You see, Ed, the techniques you've just seen can help to defuse a difficult situation. And that's the first step in selling to tough customers. You have to disarm them. But to really sell to someone, you got to get under their skin and see who they are and what they want.
If you want to nail someone, you've got to study their M.O. See what they're really like. You've got to look for the clues.
How they talk, dress, move, do business. These are all clues as to what sort of person they really are. They all add up to a particular style. You always have to make it as easy as possible for someone to buy from you. So, whenever you can, try to adapt to their style, their way of doing things. People are different. They have different personalities, different needs. And if you can recognize those needs, you have the key to dealing with them, no matter how difficult they are. See, the ability to size up customers and read their basic personality type is one of the most important skills in selling.
It's not just the time you spend writing letters and making phone calls. It's the time you spend worrying about it and getting mad about it.
The more she talked, I saw her as an urgent personality type. Urgent people sometimes fly off the handle, but what they're really interested in is results. These people want action.
Listen, why don't I call my office right now and clear the whole thing up?
Good. I've wasted enough time on this already.
If you should run into the same kind of problem again, will you please give me a call right away so I can straighten it out for you?
Good. I'll do that.
Gauge seems to be holding steady there where it should.
I realized that this guy was basically the thoughtful type. He dresses conservatively. Everything about him is logical and businesslike. He seemed to respond to words like detailed, tested, orderly.
The one thing, what's the inlet pressure on that?
Well, I'd like to answer all your questions. But you know what I'd really like to do first? Is to present the C2 to you, step by step. Now, there are a number of other test results I'd like to show you. And I'd like to take the time to go over all the details.
Yes, I'd like that. I want to understand this whole thing from the bottom up before I make any decisions.
Oh, very good.
Thoughtful types require a very systematic, thorough approach. Once you understand them, you can present your product in a way that suits their style and leads to a sale.
Well, looks like your team did its homework.
This is great. It's a solid unit.
We have them in stock, you know. You could take it home with you today.
Well, you know, I do plan to check with a couple of friends before I make a decision.
Fine. Like many indecisive people, this customer was very concerned about what other people thought. He seemed to be the dependent type.
This is interesting. They pretty much agree with what you said. Do you really think that's a good buy?
Absolutely. Dependent people often want someone else to make the decision for them. If you move too quickly, it can scare them off. But if you wait until they trust you, they'll often buy exactly what you recommend.
What do you think I ought to do?
Why don't you take the receiver with the 140 watts per channel? Then you won't have any worries about power.
Oh, maybe you're right.
That's what I do.
Well, I guess that's what I'll do, too.
Good. Now, how would you like to pay for this?
See, I don't have enough cash with me. Better give you a check. Oh, wait a minute.
When When you've got a tough customer on your hands, it helps if you can figure out what makes them tick. She seemed to me to be a classic detached type. They want to stand above it all and control things themselves. They really resist a hard sell.
There's a real sense of freedom out here, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
These types often respond to concepts rather than specifics, and they don't want someone else to make up their minds for them. They want to make up their own minds.
How do you make this thing go faster?
You just press the throttle forward.
Well, I hope this has been helpful, Ed. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's getting late and I have to take off. You guys can take it from here.
Right.
Well, thanks a lot. That's very helpful.
Hey, where are you going? There's something we haven't quite covered yet.
What's that?
You.
Before you can handle other people, you've got to know who you are.
Yeah, what type are you? Are you pushy, arrogant?
Are you logical and thoughtful?
Yeah, you want to make a lot of friends, or you the detached, analytical type?
You have to know how you appear to other people.
Sure, you could be creating a lot of hard times for yourself.
That's right. You could be bringing out negative reactions in other people because of your own personality.
Yeah, but I don't know what type I am. I see all those things in me to some degree.
Of course they're in you. They're in everybody. Everybody's got a different style, a different mix.
What if I use the wrong mix, the wrong style for some customers?
You change.
You gotta be flexible. You gotta talk the other guy's language.
You see, the whole trick is to use the right style with the right person at the right time.
What do you say we knock it off for today, huh, fellas? I gotta hit the streets.
You know, I think he's starting to talk our language.
You know, I think you're right. Let's get out of here.
You know, it really helps to know a little more about people. A while back, I thought I was really up against it with those types, but now they don't seem so hard to handle.
Yeah. I think we all exaggerate our problems.
Yeah, once you understand them, why, they're not such tough customers.